Alright. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Kingdom Come Deliverance, what stands to probably be our last stream. Like I said, I said this last week, I may wind up coming back to Kingdom Come just for some of the ambience at one point or another, just for a minor little stream. That could be a wonderful thing for us to revisit at some point. Just wander on back. Wandering back through everything. But I think Roller's being wonky. That's odd. Sorry about that. I think we should be ready to actually finish this thing. Fine. Yeah, no. Controller's all better. At least I think it is. So yeah, we should actually finish this game tonight. We should finish our battle for Talmberg. There's a bright new morning. I turned out not to be that late, just a minute or two, so I'm actually doing okay. That said, I'm still eating, in case you didn't. Nothing too coffee. But then also, nothing too horrendous or noisy. I'm just eating a large bowl of raw tuna. I've taken to doing such things on occasion. In part because it's delightful. And it's actually quite healthy. Both tuna in general and fresh raw tuna. I'll do the same thing with salmon sometimes as well, though that'll more often do. At least cure it with something, with either sauce or with like a acidic juice or something to make ceviche kind of thing. But they're good. Well, I cannot believe that there was no there were no random events. No encounters. No nothing. We're just here with our glorious, glorious trebuchet. But let's do this. It is time to go to battle. And I have no right idea how long this is going to take, so let's go for it. I'm done early. I have a few other things we can do, but go for it.
I'm here.
Can't you see we're still bombarding?
What?
You came too soon.
What it said? No, I can't see we're still bombarding. Okay, go ahead and bombard. I want to see it. I'll at least watch a nice trebuchet go. I also kind of want to go stand there and see if I can get myself hit. Kind of really want to try that now. The intrusive thoughts are about to win. Do not let the intrusive thoughts win when there's a catapult involved. I'm gonna go see if I can get hit. Yeah, probably not. I'm even just going to see if I can see the stone. Oh. Got men here. Interesting. Interesting. There seems to be very minimal damage, if anything. Fortunate. I'm going to go back up here for a moment and see if I can get an eye on the arm of the catapult. I think it's still up. Yeah, it's still up, so it's going to take a little bit before it's ready to fire again. Anyway. They're loading. Really want to see where this lands. All that. Hey there, guard. They are just as tempted to see all this. You can tell. This is, by the way, unfathomably dangerous. Just because trebuchets and other sort of medieval siege weapons like this are incredibly imprecise machines. If only because of the sort of non-standard ammunition size. Like, if you get a rock that's, yay big, first of all, you're not going to have every rock be exactly the same size. That'd be ridiculous. There'd be no reason to do that. The only reason would be if you're trying to get precision aiming, which is not all that useful realistically. So you're typically going to have rocks that are slightly oblong, rocks that are not exactly the same size. And even if you find rocks that are exactly the same size, unless they're all quarried from like the same vein, and even if they are, they're going to be slightly different mass, right? Some of them are going to be more dense, some of them are going to be less dense, and so that means that they're going to fly differently. They're going to fly different directions. The wind might catch. They might catch on something. Oh my gosh, incredible! Oh, it hits inside. Okay, hits in the courtyard. All right, that was epic. Oh man. Sir Hanish is coming to observe. Let us see what he is. Let us see what is on his mind.
Welcome, Henry. The Lord be praised. What brings you to me?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Because of that inconsistency of the size of the projectiles, more than anything else, the range and aiming of a trebuchet like this is spotty at best. You'll hit roughly where you're aiming, but you will absolutely not hit the same spot every time. You'll get groupings like a musket scaled up from musket ball to cannonball. Okay, well, let's wait another day. Let's head down back to the mill. Let's see how we're doing. Ourselves a nice night with our why in God's name not betrothed. Before beginning the battle for our liege lord and the life of our father. Which, incidentally, we've discovered so very little about. Sir Radzig being Henry's father. So, something that's gotten me quite hype recently. I don't think I talked about this Monday. Okay, well, Sir Robard's expecting me now. So I can go back. Barely midday. Where's Teresa? Going out for a nice stroll first. You'll have to excuse me, Sir Robard. Where's she? Just afternoon. Up in town or something? Well, okay. Never mind, I guess. The Robard is expecting me, right? Like, I didn't just... Okay, yeah. Yep, okay, well, let's just go back then. Anyway, so something, like I said, that I don't think I talked about on Monday, but I kind of intended to, because I've been really hype about it, because it's absurd. I'm probably going to be talking about this again next week, too, just because it's ridiculous, and I love it. As you may know, I've been re-reading through, or re-listening through to the Star Wars EU audiobooks, and I'm on the Jedi Academy trilogy, which I actually have never read before. Up until this point, most of what I have listened to, I have read before. So I read the Thrawn trilogy way back. That one was pretty young. I read the X-Wing series, I think twice. Really good. Adventures at Bakura. I had not so far read The Courtship of Princess Leia, so that's the only other one that I have not read yet. But this one, it introduces a lot of things that I recognize from later on, and I just know from like source materials, Wikipedia, and stuff like that. But yeah, there's actually quite a bit there that I know about sort of distantly, but don't know directly. And some of it is like the first-hand accounts of it, the actual narrative accounts of it are just amazing. It's just absolutely delightful. Most notably, Ungolian blob racing, which has got to be my favorite fantasy sport that exists. I am big by the way into fantasy sports. I love sports in fantasy. In like fantasy worlds, sports that don't exist that are made up for fantasy worlds. And Ungolian blob racing is like my absolute favorite now. And this is, I've always been intrigued by the idea, just sort of generically, just from what I knew about it. But I read the account of it, which is recounted from Lando Calrissian's perspective. He is hype as hell for this, and understandably so. The concept is you have these blob creatures that are basically oozes. They're basically gigantic amoebas, jellies, gelatinous cubes if you want D&D. These goop balls that are bred specifically to be extremely viscous and be prepared to race through a blobsticle course. Yeah, they go through a blobsticle course with all manner of various absurd rules, like the entire body of the blob, even if it splits apart throughout the race, the entire body must recoalesce and cross the finish line as an entire blob. Also, if two blobs join into a single blob, then they are disqualified. This planet Ungol sounds delightful. It is described as cold and humid, mostly jungled. Very misty and foggy, and everything just sounds wonderful to me. Why's he doing the Commander Riker sit? Robard, I mean. Anyway, it sounds wonderful. It sounds delightful, and there's this whole deal about there being a blob corral where Lando gets into a ridiculous shootout with a cheater at the blob races, and it's so wonderful. And I just, one of my favorite dumb little background things that's just sort of going on that makes something like Star Wars such a rich world.
Since Sir Divish's colours still aren't flying over Talmberg, I suppose we'll be attacking.
Just so. That Istran's a stubborn bastard.
Alright, when do we start?
There's no reason to wait. Are you really ready? If you need to rest or anything, we can still wait. You won't have another chance until we've won the day. Or until your final rest.
I need a
I have
snack.
to deal with something first.
All
I need a
right.
snack. That's what
Take care.
I need a snack. Wait, do I not have any food? What? Do I not have food? Let me make sure all of my stuff is nicely repaired as well. I don't have any food? I'll drink some wine. That'll settle my nervous Henry boy stomach. Wait. There we go. Some nice beer. Now I'm pleasantly ready.
Are we prepared to lay siege?
Gotta get ready, you know.
There's no reason to wait. Are you really ready? If you need to rest or anything, we can still wait. You won't have another chance until we've won the day. Or until your final rest.
Go.
I'm ready.
Glad to hear it. We're going to attack on two fronts. The north gate and the west wall, which will scale with ladders. The attack will be split into different stages. Taking the outer walls, the inner bailey, and finally the core of the castle and the tower.
How are we going to attack the gate?
We'll try to do as much damage as we can with the trebuchet first.
Which
Keezer
we did.
claims he can even hit it directly. Even if that's true, we'll have to charge through a downpour of enemy arrows all the way to the portcullis.
Portcullis?
Fortunately, it's wooden, so we'll be able to break it down. But
Good,
dealing
but
with the defense
still.
in the bailey won't be easy.
God, even a wooden portcullis, because even a wooden portcullis is usually absurdly thick. You're not gonna just like bashing that even with a battering ram is going to be absurdly difficult. Axes will take a very long time. It's possible, but it'll take a very long time. All the while you're being shot. It's that's rough. That's very rough.
And what's the plan for attacking the west wall?
First, we have to get men to the wall with ladders, which is no easy matter under fire, so we'll need as many men covering them as possible. As soon as the ladders are in place, our foot soldiers will run up and try to scale the wall. Once a few of them get to the battlements, we should quickly gain the upper hand.
How will we
Okay.
take the battlements?
Either by scaling the west wall, or our men at the gate will help. If they can break through, that is.
And if we can get to the battlements up the wall, then we can just open the front gate. That seems like the easier strategy, but scaling a wall is, of course, not terribly easy.
And the inner bailey?
That will be tough. Even if we get through the gate and into the outer bailey, we're still a long way from victory. The castle is designed so we'll be like hens in a coop to anyone with a bow on the inner battlements. We'll have to either fight our way through, or somehow get around them.
Wait, I didn't think Talmberg Castle had an outer bailey. I mean, it does. Actually, no, it does. It's just across the drawbridge. It's the place we've already conquered. We already pushed through. That's the outer bailey. The inner bailey is not accessible from the outer bailey. They're not like they're connected. That's the other side of the drawbridge. Unless I'm misunderstanding the terminology or something. That seems right to me. Let me listen to this again.
And the inner bailey?
That will be tough. Even if we get through the gate and into the outer bailey, we're still a long way from victory. The castle is designed so we'll be like hens in a coop to anyone with a bow on the inner battlements. We'll have to either fight our way through, or somehow get around them.
I assume that he's misspoke there. That once we get through the gate, we're in the inner bailey, not the outer.
What about the living quarters?
There, I'm worried most about the hostages. Once we're inside, Istvan will know defeat is inevitable, but we'll still have to fight for each and every room.
I think I've heard everything I need to know.
Do you want to join the attack on the walls or on the gate? Remember, many of the Skalitz men will follow you. It could make a big difference.
I'll help with the attack on the walls.
Oh, decided for me. Okay.
I'm proud of you, Henry. You've changed from an insolent pup into a tough, reliable fighter.
I guess decided for
And
me.
as
That's
God is my witness, we will kick those whore sons' arses.
A village lad and an old soldier? This man must be shaking in his boots.
If he's not shaking, then he doesn't know what he's got coming. Just one last thing, though. No matter how good the plan is, something always gets fucked up. Keep your eyes open.
Well said.
Take advantage of every chance. Help your comrades, and don't go rushing in where you're outnumbered. We have to
Sort
take
of a
castle
proto
granted,
version of
one
no
position
plan
after
survives
another.
contact with the enemy.
I'll remember that.
Good luck to you, stripling.
Good luck to you, old soldier.
God be with you.
Well, that's not my armor, but oh well. It's nice armor. Although it's a Brigandian, that's less nice than it should be for Henry, but oh well. Ooh! Pretty good. Not like it hit the portcullis, but damn, it hit the mechanism. Not bad. I mean, with enough days, with 2 full days of bombardment to calibrate the thing, you could get accuracy pretty good. Precision is the problem, not so much accuracy. And that affects accuracy. So that's really the issue, which, I don't know, I mean, yeah, it's a reasonably good shot, but having gotten it into where it needs to go. And sort of honed it in. And yeah, I think that's... Nah, it's fine. I have what's called armor. I have excessive armor. Oh, come on now. Keep your head up there. I want to shoot somebody in the face. I really want to shoot someone right in the face. Right in the stupid face. Come on. Come on. They don't have machiculations, so their defensive fortifications are kind of minimal. Guess it's fine. Never mind. They're not going to pop out. Oops. Get to the gatehouse. It's the left of the gatehouse. What? I'm in a private area. We're doing well. We're doing well. Okay, that is closed off. Okay, up the battlements, I suppose. What? There's someone still at the gate. There we go, problem solved. Okay, buddy. You'll be fine. The best way into a castle is to pick the lock during battle. Okay, there's no one in here. No. Going to the chapel. Did we do it? Did we... Where is their fighting? I can't get in through there. I don't know where there's still fighting. Where there is still fighting going on. There's a lot of dead people, though. Both sides, I think. Oh, hey. Hey, you. Okay. There's one problem solved. Who else we got? Yeah, come on. There we go. All right. Henry, the Holy Storm is just bashing through everywhere. Oh, God! That's a lot. Okay, let's... Let's get to some support, huh? Hi there, friend. Help me out here. What the hell? What else we got? Are there more? There's got to be more, right? The big old tussle over here had to split up and go somewhere. They're not all dead. Are they all dead? Ah, okay. Here we go. I just hit my friend. Oh, no, I did. Damn, I feel bad. I'm such a bad shot. Oh, come on. Now I know what D&D is like in a, Hey, come back here. Shooting into melee. Man, that guy is just getting his ass kicked, but he's holding up like a champ. What's that?
Sir, we should give the order.
Let's see if Istvan Toth can worm his way out of this one.
Don't tempt fate, Hanish.
Istvan! It's over! You want us to come and get you?
I wouldn't advise that. If your friend Divish wants to see his wife alive again.
And Sir Radzig? Are both hostages unharmed?
For now, Hanush, unless circumstances change.
I'm glad to hear it. My guest is also safe and sound, but he's also quite keen to go home. I imagine you feel the same way. It's been a long time since you warmed yourself at your own hearth.
I'm in no hurry. I've plenty of supplies here, grand view and excellent company. What more could I want?
Your freedom!
Freedom? Freedom to get an arrow in the back?
Sir, we're all noblemen here, all bound by honor. I give you my word as a knight and lord, and that of my companions. If you release Lady Stephanie and Sir Radzig, you may leave the castle with your men and go on your way unharmed.
And just how far will we get? What good will it do me if your men attack us in the woods instead of here?
If you give me your word of honor that you will leave and never return, I promise you safe passage to the boundary of this fiefdom. What happens after that is up to you and the will of God Almighty.
Very well then, but I want a small safeguard. I'll give you her ladyship, but Radzig comes with me. I'll release him in Skalitz.
Out of the question! Is our word not good enough for you?
Is mine not good enough for you? I swear I'll release him when I get to a safe distance.
I'll go with him, Hanush. Let the Lady Stephanie have her freedom now.
Father!
Don't worry, son. I trust Lord Toth's self-interest more than his word. He wouldn't be fool enough to harm me.
If you're certain, Radzig.
Prepare horses and supplies, and tell your men to pull back. We'll come down.
You heard him. Get to work. And any man who breaks this truce answers to me.
So are you really going to let them go?
My word is my bond, Henry.
He's a cutthroat and a liar. Good men are dead because of him. What's to stop us from skewering him as soon as he sets foot outside?
Our honor.
If you let him go, he'll do the same again. Or worse.
God's justice will find him. And then he'll get a taste of my mace.
If we break our word of honor, we have none. And without honor, we are nothing. Never fear. Your father will be all right.
We'll hunt down those vermin yet.
Bring the horses.
It really does speak to how
Here she is, as I promised.
the
Her hair on her head harmed.
Divish,
the common folk tend to pay horribly
forgive me, husband.
when
I'm sorry
For what?
noble
for
behave
letting them into
badly.
the castle.
Come now, my dear. You're not to blame.
I didn't know who he was. He said he was your friend.
Never mind. Did he hurt you?
No.
I hope your word can be trusted.
Certainly more than yours.
If everything goes as agreed, I'll set Radzig free in Skalitz. If anyone tries to follow us, I'll kill him.
We won't.
My apologies for keeping you from your father, but you'll see each other soon enough. Oh, I almost forgot. Your sword. I expect you'll want it back after all the trouble you went to. Actually, you know what? I think I'll keep it. As a memento.
This isn't over. I'll find you.
I look forward to it. Yeah!
Quick! To the battlements! We have to see which way they go!
I mean, you have men up there.
Oh, they really are heading for Skalitz. Mount up, Henry.
You've heard what he'll do if we follow them.
We're not going to follow them. We just have to collect your father. Or do you want him to walk back here when they release him?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, it's a piss poor excuse, but it's a good. It'll work. It's a passable excuse, I suppose, is what that is. Yeah, this is one of those instances where the common folk really
What do you think? Will Toth keep his word?
really take it up the
Noble,
ass, so to
right?
speak,
Yes. So am I.
when nobles just sort of get away with whatever the hell they want. Because he did have, dozens,
What should I
maybe
say?
hundreds of men slaughtered here.
Don't worry. It'll come to you. You'll see.
Well, I just hope he'll be there. Alive.
Yeah. Shadowmere, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You wouldn't catch me doing that.
Truth is, I didn't think much about it. I just felt I had to do it.
Yeah.
Are those?
What we
No,
gonna
those
do
are
now?
the other horses.
Not long ago, I only made plans 3 days ahead at most.
Yeah.
Maybe I really could do something for Rate and its people. Something really big. But there'll be plenty of time for that later.
He has to be referring to something specific there. There's no way that was just sort of meaningless off the cuff.
This is quite a turnaround, isn't it?
What do you mean?
How long have we known each other? A few weeks?
Something like that.
Before that, I was chasing wenches around Rate and you were digging turnips. And now look at us. A pair of veterans.
Wasn't exactly digging turnips, but
I was
Whatever.
an apprentice blacksmith, not a turnip digger.
Same difference, you silly bugger.
point taken, regardless. Wait, who are our other friends?
There's no sign of them. Move on. There! I'm glad to see Istvan kept his word, sir.
Not half as glad as I am, Your Grace.
Well, we kept our word too, and now Toth has had his head start and he's fair game. Which way do they go?
To the north, but I would be careful, Sir Hans.
Fear not, Your Grace. I have twice as many men as he. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure the two of you have a lot to say to each other. Let's go!
You alright, Father?
I am. They treated me quite decently. Although they did steal my horse, so I'll have to go back on foot.
I mean, we've got a horse. So two can ride on a horse, I suppose. We learned anything from the Crusades?
It looks like it's all over.
Not by a long shot. It won't be over until we get this mess cleared up.
And catch that bastard. How could we let him go?
Would you rather we killed him? Even if it meant Lady Stephanie and I died too?
No, of course not. But what was to stop us from killing him after the exchange?
Honor?
Honor?
If the word of honor of a nobleman could not be trusted, then he would never have agreed to the exchange.
And where's the honor in abandoning your son?
You know how it is. We were young. It happened. And I couldn't marry a commoner. Then your father, Martin, came along and took care of both of you.
Well, he knew it.
What? That I was your father? Certainly. He was a great man. He took you as his own. And always kept an eye on you. Of that you can be sure.
I know so little about his past.
He told you nothing. Oddly enough, even though you don't have his blood, you're very like him. When he was around your age, he became bored of his trade and set out to see the world. He lived through many adventures, even fought in a war.
In a war?
Yes, in Poland, I believe. And I don't think he cared much for it.
That's why he wanted me to stay at home.
He spent some time in Prague, then settled in Kuttenberg. But it seems he quarreled with someone there and finally ended up here. You know the rest.
I loved him, but even so, I somehow always had a feeling I didn't quite fit in.
It was in your blood, I suppose.
I lost the one thing I had left from him. Your sword.
Ah, the sword. It's not my sword. It's yours. For a moment there, it was so near, yet so far. Oh, well, it can't be helped.
It was almost within my grasp, but just then I had something else on my mind.
Well, I think we may yet have a chance to get it back. This business with Toth is not yet over, unfortunately.
It's a chance I'd welcome. Not just to get the sword, but that bastard Istvan too. And then I'll find that German whoreson who torched Skalitz, and I'll slay him with it.
Yeah, he never even
I'll never forget his
showed
face.
up again.
Or his name. Mark Vart von Aulitz.
Those are noble intentions, son. But don't forget there are other things in this world that are worth living for.
Like what?
Look around you. Blue skies overhead, green grass underfoot, beautiful girls. Good wine, a few good friends, and a fine steed under your backside. Those are things worth living for. Though I can't deny that swine who killed your mother must pay for what he did. But it's better not to dwell too much on that at the cost of those other things. On the subject of steeds, I think we'll have to ride like the Knights Templar.
Called it.
How's that?
2 up. One day I'll tell you how they got their seal. You can take the front.
That's wonderful.
It's like I always imagined it would be. Teaching my boy to ride. Although it would be better if you were a little smaller. My word, it's all go today, isn't it? I wonder who this is.
I think I know. It's Margrave Jobst.
The king's cousin? I wonder what he wants. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I love that. Appreciating the little niceties of life, and in addition to the grand obligations we might have, positives in life that we live for have to be sort of balanced with the obligations and the obligations of honor, the obligations of justice, either, both, whatever. I think that was a very good, it was a really good little fatherly lesson to end on. Anyway, that was a wonderful, wonderful game. I have no idea whether this music is copyrighted. I'll assume I'll get a notice if it is. I'm assuming it's probably. We'll see what happens. But this is also, I will note, probably going to be a relatively short stream. That's all right. That's fine, I suppose. But yeah, God, I love this game. This game is fantastic, and I could reasonably see this going in a couple of different directions. One, I mean, obviously, a sequel to this, the place to go is to go after Markland, and get involved with the actual war for the Holy Roman Empire. That is the obvious next step. But I could also reasonably see a sort of prequel game going through Henry's not actual father and his life and his adventures and his war in Poland or whatever. that would be really interesting as well. Like, do the whole sequel in the vein of Red Dead Redemption 2, where you sort of go back to the prior generation and see what happened that sort of leads into what we have here. That would be certainly very interesting as well. I'd like to. I think that would be a cool thing for them to explore. I'd like to see them do so. Although I kind of would like to see a kind of a conventional sequel going forward, maybe first, just because this whole issue with Markvard did not actually resolve in this game, even though he was... That is so bizarre, and maybe this is the fault of it being an historical game, it being so tied to history, so carefully tied to real history, that we kind of have to go without any resolution with the primary antagonist. I mean, Istvan is, to a degree, the primary antagonist, but the big, scary, bald German man who shows up at the beginning as the one who burnt down Skalitz is, at least seemed to me, to be the primary antagonist, at least early on, because he was also the one who comes and threatens Talmberg when you're there the next morning. And so that... it's a little bit disappointing that he is not dealt with in this game. But neither is Istvan for that matter. But he got away with the sword and everything. Which, man, that's bitter. That is bitter. But it's again, it's the way of it's the way of things. It's a real historical. Oh, the list of production babies. I love that. Yeah, that's the way of things with like real historical stories. Is things don't always get quite so nice a resolution, and honestly, that was a wonderful resolution because it was a personal resolution for the most part. I've said a couple of things like I've before, and I'll reiterate as well, that I would have liked to have seen a bit more resolution with Teresa, especially after the DLC where you renovate Pribyslavitz. You make Pribyslavitz as your sort of your town. I think that DLC and that whole quest line would have been wonderful for that to sort of culminate in marrying Teresa and bringing her to live with you. But then again, you don't want to necessarily sequester that option, that quest line, to a DLC, so fair enough, I suppose. Good enough to keep that for the sequel if you're going to do so. But anyway, that was again, I think that a couple of other minor criticisms. Pacing of this game is just insane. There's no sense of pacing to this game. In part just because the ending sequence is so incredibly long. This ending sequence was... It took us, 4 weeks? 5 weeks? And the interlude in the monastery, it feels like it happened a little too late. Right? Because it happens... There's the monastery... There's the monastery, and then almost immediately it goes into the endgame. So you have these two extremely long segments right near the end of the game that are non-standard in terms of gameplay and story. And so I think that's I don't know, that's maybe a weakness in the design of the story. Don't get me wrong, all of the components were fantastic. The whole endgame sequence was great. I loved the monastic sequence. That was really cool. It was good. It was a good sort of immersive, peaceful experience, which was a sort of step aside from the rest of the game. But then also, I mean, like I said, I think that its placement in the game is a little bit odd, a little bit awkward.
Doing well, son.
Okay, the subtitles are just mismatched.
Come now. You know who sired you.
That doesn't matter now. I miss you, Amat. I miss you very much.
You'll be fine. We're proud of you.
For what? I let you down. I lost the sword. I let that bastard get away.
Don't be so hard on yourself. There was nothing you could have done to save us. And someone has to live and carry the torch. As for the sword, it's just a thing.
You didn't want me fighting. Now look at me.
Standing up to evil isn't the same as sowing its seeds. You did what was right. I have to leave you now.
Oh, please.
You know I can't stay.
Will I ever see you again?
God knows. Make her proud.
Don't go. Oh, don't go. No.
What on earth were you dreaming about? I couldn't wake you, and it's well past dawn.
Rude.
Sir Radzig wants you at the upper castle. The lords are in council with Yobst.
Right. I'll go straight away. What is it?
It's just... I don't know how to address you anymore. All of a sudden you're Sir Radzig's son, hobnobbing with lords and ladies. And here's me, as common as muck.
Oh, give over, you idiot. Do I look like a lord to you?
Not really. You're as much a lord as I am a nun. And I've never looked good in a habit.
Get out of here! Or I'll have you clapped in the socks.
Wait, what? I'm in a private area. Yeah, my private area. What do you... That came out wrong. That came out dramatically wrong. Man, it is nice to have a story that is just so very centered on fatherhood and a wonderful father-son relationship, and a pair of father-son relationships. One being the actual biological blood father, but then also the sort of foster father as well, and having both of those sort of have that wonderful, beautiful resolution there. That was a really good wrap up. And now again, epilogue. I don't actually know.
Cleared up nicely, hasn't it?
Their problem?
What?
For security reasons.
I'm busy.
I'm here on important business, and you're going to hold me up with some bloody inspection.
Well, if that's the way it is, go ahead then.
Really? Why are we doing this? Like, I'm fairly certain I don't actually have anything that's stolen, so it doesn't matter, but still, like, what's the deal? All of my stuff is, in good repair, right? Oh, it's not. Oh, it's not. It's not at all. No. Whoops. Okay. Not cobbler's kits. I need that. Let's take them all. I don't need all those. Need all those either. I need tailor's kits. Or I just need to go talk to the tailor. Maybe I could just do that. I don't have any tailor's kits. Tailor's open, right? He's got to be. Ah, good. Good. Sir, I
God
could
grant
use...
you help. How may I help you? God be with you.
Okay. I'll do the others. It's fine. There we go. Excellently done. All right, now. Like I said, though, I actually don't know how long this epilogue is, really. But we have a nice solid 2 hours to do whatever it is that we're going to do here. So, no big deal. How's my... Oh my god, my nourishment is way too high. I ate something. Where's a digestive potion? Ooh. I'm being all piggy. And it's better. Okay. I don't know why I was that full. That's weird. It got rid of my fitness buff though. Such a shame. All right. Have I mentioned how much I love these castle designs, by the way? The hoarding, I think it's called. On the outside of the top of the wall as sort of makeshift machicolations or added on machicolations. It gives the castles such a nice look to them. And very unique look to sort of southern Europe. Southwestern Europe at this time period.
Ah, Hal. Are you going to the meeting with Margrave Jobst as well?
I am. What about Istvan? I assume...
That we didn't catch him? No. Because if we had, you'd be the first one to know. Have no fear. We'll get him eventually.
I hope you're right. Anyway, let's go and see what Jobst wants from us.
My lords, Christ's blessings on you all.
And on you, Lord Capon.
And this is my son, Henry.
I didn't know you had a son, Sir Redzig.
It came as a bit of a surprise to young Henry, too.
This gentleman here is John II of Liechtenstein, a member of my council.
I'm honored, gentlemen.
Come join us. Margrave Jobst was just about to tell us the reason for his visit. Your Grace?
I'm sure we're all agreed, Your
He's
Grace.
dressed far less
All
ostentatiously
this
than
unrest
everyone.
must come to an end. This kingdom needs a king.
The question is, which king?
My cousin, Wenceslas IV, who is being held in captivity.
I have to confess, my lord, that your answer surprises me a little. If I'm correctly informed, until recently you sided with your other cousin, Sigismund.
That I cannot deny, and I have always stated my position plainly. But times have changed.
How have they changed, Your Grace?
Sir, there is one thing on which we undoubtedly concur. That King Wenceslas, unfortunately, did not inherit his father's gift for governing. Sadly, his failures have cost Bohemia, the nobles, and our whole Luxembourg family a great deal of money and effort.
How did the king let it go so far, damn it?
It's in his temperament. He cares only for wine, women, and the hunt. A king, in fact, who never wanted to be king.
Then why didn't he just let his brother have the crown?
Young sir, the crown weighs heavy when there are duties to be performed, but to surrender it means giving up great privileges too.
But he did surrender power to his brother. When things started getting out of hand, Wenceslas appealed to Sigismund for help in restoring order.
What, you're saying Wenceslas invited him here?
This is starting to make my head spin.
Actually, it makes sense when you think about it. Sigismund wanted to re-establish the power of the whole House of Luxembourg. He thought if he helped Wenceslas win the imperial crown, in return his brother would help him become the king of the Romans, and leave the actual reign of Bohemia and the empire to him. Sigismund would govern, while Wenceslas could carry on doing what he was best at, enjoying the life of the imperial court.
Why wasn't Wenceslas crowned Holy Roman Emperor long ago? He was already elected king of the Romans. All he had to do was go and let the Pope put the damn imperial crown on his head.
Who knows? Maybe he'd prefer hunting and consorting with bathhouse wenches to spending time with the Pope.
Well, so would I must admit.
Sigismund's plan seemed sound enough, but it didn't quite work out, did it?
It worked for a while. He and his brother reached an agreement. Sigismund took over administration of the kingdom and began planning Wenceslas's journey to Rome for the imperial coronation. But then Wenceslas realized he would just be a puppet with a crown.
I must say, Margrave Jobst, Wenceslas and Prokop behaved rather like naughty children in need of a good clout about the ears.
Sigismund would agree.
I don't
He
think
was
you're supposed to
already
say that.
planning his rule of Bohemia, and all of a sudden, the rug was pulled from under him. I'd say he lost his patience and decided he'd drag Wenceslas to the coronation kicking and screaming if he had to. Just like a naughty child, as you say.
So he abducted him and your brother Prokop too, if I heard correctly.
Correct.
And you helped him do it, if I heard correctly.
Yes, your graces, it's true. I was there when Sigismund abducted Prokop. I thought everything could somehow be settled, that we could make my brother see sense. But Sigismund just wanted to put an end to the dispute once and for all, whatever the cost. There was nothing I could do to stop him. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. The worst of it is that it was all for nothing. Instead of putting a stop to the revolt, it escalated it, and the result is this chaos we have today.
That's true enough, sir. But I must admit now, I'm not sure what your position is. The king is incompetent, but we must protect him?
The simple truth, gentlemen, is that for all of Wenceslas's faults, we have no one else.
So we'll have to make do with his idleness.
People like him, though.
But what can we do now? Sigismund has the League of Lords behind him. Otto von Bergholf, Heinrich von Rosenberg.
The situation has gotten completely out of control. Now even the nobles of the League of Lords are realizing that Sigismund wasn't the right choice.
So now Berghoff is on your side. Are we to assemble an army together with him and face Sigismund on the field of battle?
We're not in Hungary now. Such affairs may be settled elegantly, without unnecessary hostilities or expenses. I have negotiated an alliance with the Hungarian bishops, the Polish, and of course the Czech nobility, against Sigismund. Every day he is losing the ground under his feet, and that's why I need your help too.
What kind of help, though? Sigismund has a massive army, and Rosenberg, Berghoff, and Prague are behind him. Do you have an army you could face him with?
But that's not what I mean at all. There's been a revolt against Sigismund in Hungary. partly due to my efforts. And now he'll have to choose whether he wants to gain the Bohemian crown, which is a very risky enterprise, or hold on to the Hungarian one. He can't have both. And there's
It's
a
a bit of a
tough
clown.
struggle awaiting him in
Body
Hungary.
language-wise.
I'm not sure he'll win, and Rosenberg and Berghoff know it too. They're not stupid. If the Bohemian nobility stands together, they will turn.
We are men of little consequence, Margrave. Radzig here lost everything because of his alliance with Wenceslas. Sir Divish came within a hair of the same fate. Even Rattay is defenseless against Sigismund and the League of Lords.
What's more, Your Grace, King Wenceslas languishes in captivity in Vienna. He can't rule too well from there.
And what do you propose? To sit with your arms folded till the Bohemian lands are turned to ashes like Skalitz? We have to put a stop to this senseless war.
And do you know, sir, what the true position of the League of Lords is?
I'm not on the best of terms with them at this moment, so you'll have to ask them yourselves.
Yes. Why not? I'll go and visit Bergov at his castle and we'll see what he tells me.
You know, that's not such a bad idea, young sir.
True. Though a little risky.
I doubt Berghoff would harm a blue-blooded envoy. And you can find out what he has to say about developments and what the League of Lords is planning. Then we'll decide what to do next.
I'll help you compose a letter to him.
I'd like Henry to come with me.
Why not? He's proven himself an able investigator, and he'll also be a good bodyguard if anything should happen.
And I'll send Sir John here to Kuttenberg to be my eyes and ears there. I believe both your reports will help us get a better grip on the situation.
When can you set out?
Just as soon as I've packed my things.
Excellent. Margrave Jobst and I will draft a letter. Get ready, and we'll meet back here.
So I assume this is where the sequel is going? I'm going to make the assumption that we're not actually going to go
I
to...
expect it would be best to write it in your name as Lord of Lipa.
We're not going to go right now.
What exactly am I to write?
That'd be quite the thing.
So what do you think of
That
it all,
just
Sir
sort of
Divish?
sprung up at the end.
I think I don't know what to think.
That makes two of us.
If I didn't know anything about Jobst, I'd say he's right and absolutely truthful. But I've heard too much about him already.
Likewise. But I do feel he's the one with the best chance to put things right.
Well, we'll see what we learn from Bergov. If the League of Lords stands with Sigismund, then our chances pale, in spite of everything Jobst said.
We shall see. We shall see. So, it looks like you're off on a mission.
Yes, I can't wait.
I don't want to dampen your spirits, my boy, but watch out. These are evil times, and who knows what can happen along the way. Not to mention that Bergov is no saint.
Don't worry.
I know. You've shown you can fend for yourself, but do take care. You'll be traveling as Lord Capon's bodyguard. You'll be there to make sure nothing untoward happens to him. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears wide open. What Bergov tells you is one thing, but what you see may be quite another.
Rest assured, Father.
Are we actually going to Kuttenberg?
And don't get embroiled in anything else.
Like in the
Just
epilogue?
hand over the letter, hear out his reply, and return.
Yes.
Very well. Bergov is at Trotsky Castle. I think you'll find it quite an eye-opener. It's one of the finest castles in the land. It's 3 days' ride from here, so unless you hit a snag along the way, you'll be back soon enough. Any questions?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was... Whoa. What? Everything is just suddenly opening up in the epilogue. What is this? Like, Did I not say that the pacing of this game is absolutely frickin' bizarre? This is... Okay, you know what? Let's just go through it. Let's go through and see what's going on. Man. All right.
I'm getting a bit lost in the Luxembourg lineage. It all seems a bit too tangled.
The Luxembourgs have ruled the Empire and Bohemia for almost 100 years now. Emperor Charles brought this land to prominence. When he was in power, things had never been so good. Wenceslas and Sigismund are his sons, but by different mothers. Jobst and Prokop are their cousins. they were entrusted with governing Moravia. But instead, they've been in a bitter armed feud for years, and now Sigismund's fallen out with Wenceslas. Wenceslas also had another brother, the youngest, John of Görlitz, who was most probably poisoned. They seem like a hot-blooded lot. It's hard to keep up with their affairs, since they tend to change their alliances from one day to the next.
Yeah, I gathered that.
Who is he really, this Jobst?
The cousin of King Wenceslas? He's the Margrave of Moravia. I admit I don't know what to make of him myself. Until recently, he was allied with the League of Lords. For a time, he even served Rupert of the Palatinate against the king. And now suddenly, he's reversed his position. I don't know what led him to do it, and one can't help being suspicious. It's best to keep a watchful eye on him, but he really is the leader of the resistance against Sigismund these days. We'll just have to see how it all turns out.
This is actually a really good display of genuine historical feudalism, where the king really is just another lord, just like so many others, which really does a good job of what do you say, limiting limiting the real wieldable power of any given noble, even the king, because of these sort of twisted alliances. It's a kind of checks and balances system, a balance of powers that, I mean, the American founders tried desperately to imitate with the branches of government. They were trying desperately to imitate this sort of balance of power kind of thing, but of course, there was no way that was ever going to possibly succeed. Of course not. It's having people competing for power in this manner is a genuine competition, and they have their own interests, which are their own personal and familial interests, as distinct from the interests of their office or their branch or their position or whatever. And most importantly, they're not all members of the same government. They're not all members of the same elected body, whereas the sort of branches of any sort of modern government, U.S. or otherwise, their heads on the same hydra, right? Which is very different from this. This is a genuine community of people that are jockeying for position, yes, but have sort of rules and regulations to their behavior, unspoken as they might be, like the rules of honor and which are really just derivable from just war theory, right? False surrenders are false negotiations are just a bad idea, in addition to their being dishonorable, dishonest, etc. But things like this, right? This is an incredible system, a very good system, ethically as well as practically, for ensuring that power does not get overly concentrated. Hans Hermann Hoppe noticed this, pointed this out. I'll put in the description a link to a short book of his called Aristocracy to Monarchy to Democracy, I think it's called. A tale of moral and civilizational decline, where he argues that this system that we see, or something very much like this system that we see displayed here, is the most just, the most sustainable, and the least likely to result in tyrannical corruption that we might see, especially even compared to sort of modern republics and democracies. And he makes the argument that the proximity of rulers to their people, mandated by this sort of this layering of power and authority, means that rulers can't get out of hand. Whereas in the modern world, in the modern sort of democratic West, rulers are always getting out of hand, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop them, because you're not just ruled by, well, think about it this way. Yes, you have sort of layering of power. Yeah, I've got a mayor and a governor and a president, fine, whatever, but that's very different, because they are all, strictly speaking, aligned with one another. They're not in any kind of competition for the same power, for the same roles. Whereas in a system like this, they absolutely are. all of them are equals in a sense and are on even footing, able to wrestle with each other. And so the support of the people actually matters far more than it does in a democracy, a representative democracy or whatever. I think that this is despite the apparent chaos here, this is an excellent system. This is quite a stable system even. And again, like I said, I'll put that essay from Hoppe in the description, and I'll also put it in Discord as well, because it's definitely worth reading or listening to. There's a good audiobook version as well. I'll link both of those.
I'm a bit concerned so many people seem to think so little of King Wenceslas. You knew him, didn't you? What's he really like?
Well, there's no straightforward answer to that question. He certainly makes a great hunting and drinking companion, but he can be very fiery and impetuous when things don't go how he'd like them. He never had much of a head for high office. He finds it tiresome. But once a man's grasped the scepter, it's hard to let it go again. You can't just abscond. You've seen for yourself what happens when he disappears for a few months. Better a bad but legitimate king than a bloody war over the throne.
Fair point.
Who is this Prokop that Jobst spoke of?
Jobst's brother, the king's cousin. He and Jobst warred over Moravian supremacy for years. Then they were allies for a while, betrayed Wenceslas and sided with Rupert of the Palatinate. But after Sigismund abducted Wenceslas, Prokop fomented a revolt against him, and Sigismund had him captured. Politics. Make of it what you will. I, for one, can't make head or tail of it most of the time.
Again, it's first of all, I mean, it also speaks to sort of man's need for authority and hierarchy and all that. And also, like I said, this kind of interpersonal high-level politics, really interpersonal high-level politics of individuals vying for power, there's a real honesty to it that leads to, first of all, a real danger for those involved, which is sorely missing in today's world. Well, like that's another thing. Like you'll notice that all these nobles, every one of them takes war very seriously, because there's a real danger to not just their people, not just their sort of their people in the abstract, but their people, the people that they rely upon, and then even further, a real danger to themselves. This is completely missing from the modern world. There is almost no chance of any politician dying in war in today's world, unless there is a total victory by a by a highly aggressive opponent. The chances of any politician actually dying in warfare in today's world is negligible. And so, the politicians, modern democratic constitutional Republican politicians are far more likely to lead their people, send their people more like into war, because there's no cost to it for that. And so, again, I think that this is a perverse incentives problem in the modern world. I mean, again, I you could make an argument. I don't know if this is quite the argument to be making on YouTube, but again, it's a scholarly argument that something like the targeting of civilian commanders of militaries, let's say, what some would refer to as political assassination, is certainly a just means of conducting warfare, because it will, one, place the onus of responsibility upon the people who are actually responsible for instigating the war, and then therefore, by a sort of public choice theory, would strongly discourage warfare, because if there is a real danger of, you as Senator so and so or whatever dying, if you vote to go to war, there's a real danger of you dying. You're far less likely to do that, because now that you pay no penalty for it whatsoever. Of course not. You might pay a minor political penalty if enough people get tired of the war, which is very difficult to have that happen just because of propaganda. But you're not going to pay any personal penalty for it. Ooh. In fact, you stand to gain a lot, probably riches. Warfare is to enrich you as a politician, almost certainly. Pork barrel spending to whatever else you might have. Yeah, I think that again, if politicians are in actual danger danger from a war that they would instigate, they'd be far less likely to instigate that war. And it would put those politicians, it would put those responsible for war in the position of paying the price for having done so, rather than innocent, broadly speaking, more or less innocent soldiers, especially if we're talking about conscripts. So yeah, I think that's perhaps a controversial view, but I don't think it. I think it really just sort of it really follows from just war theory plus some basic understanding of incentives and public choice theory.
The League of Lords and that Berghoff we're off to see. Who are they exactly?
The lords of the powerful houses. Heinrich of Rosenberg, Otto of Berghoff, Heinrich of Radetz, and others. They're unhappy with the way their influence declined after Wenceslas surrounded himself with the lesser orders of nobility. They abducted the king years ago and made him bow to their will. They got away with it that time, and now they've joined forces with Sigismund and done it again. But now it seems that Sigismund's behavior is starting to rub them up the wrong way, so they may well be thinking twice. We'll see what Berghoff has to say.
And here we see again that the king really does have to answer to these nobles. Excuse me. And not for any like official procedural reason, but just for due to practicality that the nobles have direct power over the king. And so the king can't just go off and be a dick. He's actually answerable to some of the people under his authority.
I don't know all that much about Sigismund.
He's the king's younger brother and king of Hungary in his own right. 7 years ago, he led a crusade against the Turks and was defeated at Nicopolis. Some say it was due to the recklessness of the French knights, most of whom were mercilessly slaughtered. Sigismund is ambitious and capable. He might well make a better ruler than Wenceslas, but he's arrogant, and to our misfortune, brutal. Not long ago,
so it would seem,
he himself was held captive by the Hungarian nobility. They dislike him as much as some of the Czech and German noblemen do his brother Wenceslas. Ironically, Wenceslas joined forces with Jobst to liberate him, and now this is how Sigismund repays his brother. There's no doubt about it, God does move in mysterious ways.
Amen.
Rupert of the Palatinate.
So do nobles.
That's a name I hadn't heard before today.
Rupert is the Prince Elector of the Palatinate.
What's a Prince Elector?
And what's the Palatinate?
The Prince Electors are dignitaries of the Holy Roman Empire who have the right to elect the King of the Romans, who would then be crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope. Rupert took the title for himself with the help of 3 other Prince Electors, even though Wenceslas had already been appointed. Some of the nobility in the empire recognized Rupert's claim, but when he went to Rome to be crowned emperor, it turned into a fiasco. Now he's doing his utmost to get Wenceslas to acknowledge him, but so far without success. So, now we have 2 kings of the Romans. Jobst sided with Sigismund for a while, but now he's switched allegiance. He seems to do that quite a lot.
And of course, a lot of these, historically, at this time period, but a lot of these were mere titles. Holy Roman Empire, Holy Roman Emperor, King of the Romans, as 2 separate titles, although they usually coincided. Like, a lot of these were merely titular marks of rank. They become important when it comes to swaying people to support you, which is crucially important. I mean, really, it's one of the periods in history where authority is more important than power. I mean, power is that part of politics which comes at the barrel of a gun, so to speak. Authority is your ability to rule in such a way that people will follow you. In other words, to rule correctly. Right? Authority in this sense is the same kind of authority that we would expect in a sort of academic arena, where if you have academic authority, what that means is you are likely to be consistently correct. If you have authority as a ruler, that means you are likely to rule correctly in a consistent manner. And so, and I have an article about this in I have it. Yes, my university's publication. Where is it? I'll find it. I'll see if I can find a link to it as well and post that somewhere. Where I am. This is Rebus, Volume 1, Issue 6, if you're looking for it, if you can find it. This is Rebus, published by St. Leo University, Volume 1, Issue 6. I can find this. Here. Testos neque auctoritas, power without authority. Anyway, like I said, I'll try and put a link to this if I can find the online version of this. Again, talking about the difference between power and authority in the political context. Because again, power is the ability to enforce one's will. Authority is one's will being the thing that people ought to follow. And again, that aligns with other kinds of authority that you might have. Like intellectual authority is, I think, the prototype here. Is a good prototype to defer to. You have authority, what that means is that you're probably going to be correct and that somebody should listen to you by default. Because you're correct, not because you're special, but because you're right. The same applies to political authority. The reason that we should listen to the dictates of a ruler is because they're going to rule justly. They're going to basically their rulings are mere instantiations of the natural and eternal law. And if that is the case, then we have a reason to obey them, independent of their position. Excuse me. God. Independent of their position, their titles, their soldiers, whatever. That I think that is again, that's very much the kind of thing that is missing from a lot of modern politics. Is that there's no real concern for authority. All there really is ultimately is power, and authority is seen as being derived from power, rather than being what justifies power. And that's kind of the thesis of that essay there, of that article, is that when we separate these two, power and authority, in this way, we wind up, when we try and separate them practically, we wind up reducing one to the other conceptually. We wind up saying, well, authority is unimportant, all that matters is power, or we wind up saying that power is simply the same as authority, right? That to say that someone has authority just it means that no matter what they do with power, that is authoritative, which is also nonsense, right? That I'm an academic authority in say medieval philosophy, but if I say something stupid or false, if I were to make an argument, for example, that Thomas Aquinas put forward the doctrine of univocal predication with respect to propositions propositions describing the divine nature. That is not an authoritative statement, despite it coming from an authority in the field. It's not an authoritative statement because it's false, right? Aquinas argued for analogical predication. Again, complex issue, but whatever. Oddly, the first thing that came to mind for some reason. That was Scotus's view. Scotus was the univocist when it comes to predication about the divine. And so, no, if I say something wrong, then no, I'm not speaking within my authority. Even though I am in the abstract an authority in the field, the reason I'm an authority is because I'm likely to be correct. Because I say correct things a bunch. So a ruler is an authority, is authoritative, not just powerful, right? Not just a ruler, but a just ruler, when they are ruling justly. When they're instantiating the natural and eternal laws. Anyway, last
that
thing.
young man, Sir John of Liechtenstein, Why is he here?
The Liechtensteins are a powerful Austrian family with estates in Austria and Moravia. Sir John sits on Jobst's council. Since the king's being held captive in Vienna, I suppose it makes sense to have a powerful Austrian house as allies. It could be very useful.
Fair enough.
That's about all.
Very well. Take the letter from Sir Hanush. And good luck, son.
Thanks, Dad. Okay, are we actually doing this? How in-depth is this epilogue?
I believe we have written it well, gentlemen.
Without a doubt. No one could deduce from this whether we are Sigismund's allies or foes.
I must travel back to Brno now, but soon I will go to Brandenburg and I will stop here on the way back. By then, Sir Capon should be back and we can discuss how to proceed.
Right. Before you leave, my lord, there is one thing that gives me no rest. Why did Sigismund come as a foe? It makes no sense.
If I may, sir, I think I can explain.
Oh, please enlighten us, young sir.
I live not far from Hungary, where Sigismund reigns. It is a savage country, and the constant war with the Turks has hardened the people. They need a monarch with an iron hand. So when Sigismund felt the wind of revolt, he reacted as he would at home. Only what works on the Hungarian nobles does not work here in Bohemia.
Bringing order is one thing, but slaughtering and pillaging with a horde of barbarians quite another. What purpose does that serve?
But Sigismund did give the Bohemian nobles a chance to take his side. It was only when they refused his ultimatum that he lost patience and took to the sword.
As for the barbarians, he could afford nothing better. The Hungarian nobility would gain nothing from joining his campaign in Bohemia. He didn't have enough coin for a regular army, and so he recruited the Cumans. What he does not pay them, they make up for in plunder.
But in the end, he didn't have enough to even satisfy the Cumans. That's why he raided Kuttenberg and Skalitz. He wanted the silver.
That makes sense.
My lords, how's the letter coming along?
It's done.
Then we can be on our way.
Looking shiny.
Now remember what we said, boy. All you have to do is deliver the letter, listen to the answer, and come back here. Don't provoke Berghoff in any way.
Provoke? Me? Never, Uncle. We'll be back in a few days. Farewell, your graces. Come, Henry, my men are waiting.
I wish you Godspeed.
I love the armor. It is so well designed. But the animation of the armor would use some work. It's a little bendy. If you like, you can still embark on side quests and activities or just wander the world. You can end the game anytime afterwards by riding off the map with Sir Hans Capon's squad. Oh. Hans. Oh, okay. Okay, I see how it is. So basically you can just continue doing side quests and such. But then there is the... Oh, you can't go up on the hoardings. You can continue doing side quests and such, but then you ride off with Sir Hans, and that's the end of the game. Let me use a Xavier Shops. Make a save here. Then we'll end it. We'll do the proper ending, shall we? Yes. There it is, down there. Saving. Oh gosh, I'm a little drunky. Let's do this, shall we? I'm gonna make a save before the actual proper ending. Hans. Let's go. Ready.
So, can we set off now, Henry?
Of course. I can't wait.
So, to horse! The Lord of Berghoff is bound to be waiting us eagerly.
This is a neat way of ending things. So there is a chance of, playing around epilogue stuff. But then also, there is a definitive end. You can actually end the story of the game by going off to presumably the sequel in Krakow? Wherever it was.
So, how is life as a highborn bastard?
I'm getting used to it.
What about Rodsey? Has he accounted for not owning up to you the whole time?
He explained it. All will be well, I think.
Glad to hear it. It's far more acceptable for a nobleman to befriend a noble bastard than a blacksmith's son.
Mind you, don't come to blows with a blacksmith, my young lord.
Ow!
Guys, get out of the way. You have a company of nobles riding through your town. Please
What
move.
do you think about Sir Yobst and his plan?
Well, I admit all the scheming has me a little lost. I thought Sigismund was the devil, Wenceslas a martyr, those on his side the heroes, and those against him the villains. I believed we'd rescue the king and all
Never
would
that
be well
simple.
again, but now it looks a lot more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't expect the noble lords to be as noble as the angels, but I hadn't expected such a sewer. They behave like children.
I can't fathom how after all this
I mean, not
backstabbing,
with
they're
the,
somehow still on speaking terms.
I don't know either.
Not with the ending of the battle.
Beggar's belief.
That was all rather civilized. Noble and honorable.
Did you know that King Wenceslas is such a
Feckless drunkard? Not really. And to be honest, I'm not sure I wanted to know. I slept better believing my fate was watched over by a wise and powerful monarch.
So did I.
What a dismal world when you can't keep trusting your own king.
On the other hand, times were better with him here than with him gone.
Isn't that the truth?
And honestly, he reminds me of Sir Hans from the description.
What do you think of Sigismund?
If I were him, I'd have had enough of my brother even sooner.
But he's a monster. Look at what those hordes of his are getting up to here. What he did in Skalitz.
True enough. On the other hand, if Wenceslas and Prokop hadn't double-crossed him, none of this would have happened.
No one forced him to burn Skalitz.
That's a fact. But he couldn't let them shit all over him either. Not that I'm defending him.
He's a weasel.
No doubt about that.
We're just off out of the province.
Ha! Sir Hanush could tell you a thing or two about him.
Why?
Oh, we're going to towards Neuhof.
Last winter, a certain Sir Jan Sokol of Lamberg, a well-known knight, or robber baron to some, tried to occupy the city of Iglau, which was on the orders of none other than Prokop.
And what has that got to do with Hanush?
Well, he was there with him. Of course, that's not something to brag about in front of Jobst.
And what was it all about?
They wanted to occupy a city that was on the side of the League of Lords, but despite there being several hundred strong, they didn't take it. For one thing, they couldn't get past the Iglau women, with their pitchforks and cauldrons of hot water.
I would never have thought of Sir Hanush as such a rebel.
But yeah, as I was saying, I love the armor. I don't
Have you
love
heard
that
anything about Rupert
it
of
bends
Palatinate?
when animated a little bit.
He can't manage even to wrest power from
Well,
a
what are you
king
gonna
who
do about
doesn't
that,
much
you know?
care for ruling and isn't fighting back. That doesn't seem like a man who has what it takes to rule. And that's all I need to know.
It is otherwise, I would suspect, extremely hard to animate
That
armor
Berghoff
that
we
actually
see. Do you know anything about
collisions
him?
correctly.
I haven't heard much good about him, but I have a feeling that some other nobles are quite in awe of him. And his castle is apparently quite impressive. I'll be interested to see for myself.
Me too. I'm disappointed that I assume we're not going to see it, but I'd love to.
And
I
what
love a
about
good
the League of
castle.
Lords?
Wealthy, pompous. The king doesn't seem to like them much. He's chosen to let the lesser ranks of the nobility into his circle, men like your father. I admit I don't blame him one bit, but the lords weren't happy about their lost influence, so they put their foot down. If I were Wenceslas, I'd have let them hang after they abducted me the first time. But he gave them seats at the provincial council? Little wonder they're back at their old tricks.
Here we go. Here's the road. The great big road out of the province. Neuhoff is still recovering. Let's see. Slowly. I'm actually curious how much in-game time has passed. Very curious. I could figure that out. I know the game doesn't actually keep track for you, which is a little bit disappointing. I'd kind of like it to. But I could figure that out, hypothetically. But I am very curious to how long this took in, from Henry's perspective. How long it took from him to go from, nobody blacksmith's apprentice to badassest badass of the land. Who still can't shoot a bow very well. But whatever, that's fine. Ooh. Actually, speaking of, hold on. I leveled up something. Oh, it was drinking I leveled up. Never mind, that doesn't help me much. I did level something up recently. Anyway. Saved. Wait, talk to him where? What is he doing? So what's going on here? I just saw somebody setting up camp here. There was someone here. Mere moments ago.
How about it, Henry? Can we go? Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Of course. At last I'll get to see more of the country and have a bit of an outing.
Quite.
The end. Complete the main storyline.
Let's get to it then. I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile. We're helping to save the king.
Instead of saving his drunken majesty, I'd rather find that whoreson who murdered my parents, get the sword back from him, and skewer him with it.
Cheer up, Henry. I have a feeling you'll get your chance one day, and it won't be long in coming. Forward, men! Audentes fortuna juvat!
I love how the end comes almost an hour after the credits. I mean, to be fair, that was not as much like gameplay time as we made it seem like, because I was talking through most of that, but whatever. Full of music too. There we go. Hey, that's it. So that was Kingdom Come Deliverance. I had a great time with this one, and would you look at that? I did actually manage to finish not one but two games. Not one but two games in the same week. So I finished Mass Effect on Monday, Andromeda Monday. Although, like I said, I'm probably going to do like a short stream at some point, maybe like, I don't know, like Saturday night or something. We'll see. To wrap up the epilogue stuff for that game, because we were already running late there. Here. Wait, I already have a shortcut for it. No, I don't. But yeah, I'll probably do either a short little recording or another live stream of that game. Ooh, whoops. Here, hold on. Hold on. Let me also just change something here. That. Okay. Hey, here we are. Check that out. That's nice. Not what we're looking, not what I'm intending for us to look at, but check it out. Beautiful. All right. So this, what I wanted to do now briefly is I wanted to show you guys the city that I designed once it loads in Flowscape. This is a game that I got, game program, call it what you want, that I got pretty recently, which I recommend if you're into sort of 3D, any kind of 3D artwork or landscape design or city planning, or you're, or like me, you're a dungeon master wanting to sort of visualize things like this. It's really good for medieval cities. It's really good for landscapes. It's good for all that sort of thing. And you get a lot of tools to play with. But I wanted to show you guys at this point, now that we finished a little bit early Kingdom Come, I wanted to show you the city that I've been designing for a world that I've been designing for D&D. I may, by the way, if I actually get this really organized, especially if I get it thoroughly organized before I actually wind up running it, I may wind up just putting it on something like what the hell is it called? Like the DM's Guild or something like that, as a setting guide. My intention for it, by the way, of course, the setting is for it to be largely system agnostic. So you could theoretically run it in any given system, even though I'm sort of designing it with D&D 5th edition in mind. That doesn't mean it's the only or even the best system to run it in. As you can see, the floaty controls. This is interesting. Cool landscape, but not at all what I'm planning on actually doing. But this is the sort of thing that you can design. You can design layouts of landscapes like this, which is very neat, very nifty. There's something here. If we're talking about Larry's game, we were just doing the big scary tree that we just dealt with in Buddy Larry's D&D game just last night. But no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this. Is Novia Dunham. Here we go. This is my design for the city of Novia Dunham, which is started off as a little Mott and Bailey fortification that we have over yonder. What I'm also going to do, hold on. Properties. Oh wait, not that. Properties. There we go. Right. Is the cursor going to actually capture it? Is it? Yes, there we go. Now I have a cursor. My concept for this is that it started off as a little logging town. It started off as a little Mott and Bailey fortification. that gradually expanded into a city, a fairly large city at that, at least by sort of 13th century standards, which this world is roughly speaking 13th century, but with magic, and based pretty heavily on sort of European folklore. So I have it's primarily humans plus some beast races, so catfolk, lizard people, dragonborn, bird people, that sort of thing. Each of which have their own sort of cultures, their own nations, and they interact with the couple of human nations as well. This is the capital of one small duchy in one of the human kingdoms. The sort of monotheistic breakaway human kingdom, break away from the bigger, older, more powerful sort of polytheistic or pagan human kingdom. And what we have again is we have the nice little what was once the central fortification of the town up on top of this hill. We have the back gates that go towards the woods through smaller woods, which have been sort of replanted over the years, and then further still to other towns, which would be off the map this way, which would be towns that have that are closer to the current forest line. There, bringing in more forestry and such. So then we have our nice little keep, our nice little small wall, our wizard's tower, our ringed wizard's tower, our wonderful, fairly large cathedral in the nicer part of town. I kind of color coded, or at least I don't know if color coded, but architecture coded the nicer versus slightly less nice parts of town. We have the nicest part of town, which is these nice like red roof sort of well-built buildings, and then we have the steeper roofs off to the sides, and these are the smaller, more productive parts of town. This is where you have like the smithies and the tanners and the things like that. The guardhouse, primary guardhouse for the guards of the town. Then the lower portion of the town. And then this we have here. My idea of this little bit of forest inside the city wall is part of the original forest of the town that the town was built around, that has been sort of preserved and regrown in this little area here, so that now it's sort of there as a kind of park to remind the city of what it once was. Then you have the two main gates of the city. The main gate, which is this one here, leads out to the Royal Highway, leading to the capital of the nation, which is off that direction a few hundred miles. But this is the terminus point, the end point of that major Royal Highway. So this is a major trade town as well that has other roads into the sort of the rest of the kingdom that way. You have a bit of a shanty town outside, which is the poorer part of town that is kept away from the outer wall for defensive reasons. And you don't want buildings right up to your outer wall. You really do not want that for practical reasons, because again, if you have an army coming in, and let's put ourselves in the perspective of an attacking soldier, you want to be nice and far from the wall. You don't want to be this far from the wall to have cover, right? You can take cover in any of these buildings if you can, get an invading army in, but that's at least a bow shot, right? So what you want if you're a defender, you don't want people to have cover like here, right under the wall. Then they can bring things like ladders very, very close in. They can bring siege towers even very, very close in. You don't want any of that. Nothing like that. And so what you want is this nice gap. And so one of the little world building bits, which is a sort of annual festival, is an archery contest held from any of the buildings in the on the outside of the town, except for the inn, which is that one over there. Any of the buildings on the outside of town, and the guards will set up targets on top of the wall. And any archer who can hit a target from a building gets the privileges of hunting anywhere in the province for the year. and so and also that building that they shot from has to be demolished. So it's a way of keeping the buildings back far enough, while also sort of making a sport out of it. And very seldom somebody actually manages to get it, but if somebody does, then great, they're a huntsman for a year. But otherwise, if not, then it keeps the buildings back a fair enough distance, a bow shot from the top of the wall, which is exactly what you'd want from a defensive standpoint. And so we have a nice little rationale for how this gets managed in a way that is vaguely acceptable to most people. And the people outside the wall, I'm sure they wouldn't love it, but what are they going to do? They're setting up houses in a shanty town outside of the wall, which realistically is more like a trade hub between the Royal Highway to the north and the rest of the tradeway, which goes southwards. Which, if you want to avoid going through the city and presumably like paying gate taxes and things like that, then you can just take your caravan through all of these people, and you can trade out here. There's a bit of an incentive both directions. So yeah, this is my oh, by the way, if in terms of like the D&D game perspective, this is not the starting town, but this is the major city that the players will be interacting with and going to in the first major part of a campaign that I'm working on. I do still want to make a small town that is more like their sort of hometown, the players' like hometown, where they'll be more based out of. But this is going to be the major city that they are dear enough to. They're probably a day or two's ride out. That they will be coming here to discuss with nobility and to do whatever it is that they need to do, that sort of thing. Anyway, that is something that I've wanted to show off for a little while. I really do enjoy this program as well. It's really cool. I do recommend it if you're into this sort of thing. The controls are a little finicky and they take some getting used to. But once you get the hang of it, it's quite powerful. It's quite useful. It does a lot of what you'd want it to, and it's fun. It's fun to just sort of play around and build some stuff. Also, you can do stuff like this. Wait, what is it? Put a nice little fire breathing dragon right here. Spin him around so he's attacking the keep, that sort of thing. Wait for him. He's gonna breathe fire, right? Is he gonna breathe fire or not? Maybe he's not. Maybe this one doesn't regularly breathe fire. Huh. Okay, I guess he's just flying there. Anyway, you can do stuff like that too. You can put animals down. You can put all sorts of plants and trees. There's also all sorts of options for. Oops, didn't mean to take that picture. There's all sorts of options for like background stuff. There's all sorts like you can alter the skybox, that sort of thing. Oops. You can alter the skybox. You can alter your lighting settings, things like that. So to make really nice visuals for if you want to get a picture of it, if you want to get like a map perspective, you can just basically zoom all the way out, get a top-down view, or if you'd like an isometric view, you can do that as well. Works really well for sort of mapping, that sort of thing. Anyway, all this is great. I really like this program. Like I said, I'd recommend it. You can find it on Steam. It's called Flowscape. Anyway, that's the city. That's Novia Dunham. That is a forthcoming project that I'm very gradually, very slowly working on in some spare time. I don't know. It might become an actual public product that you guys can check out, especially if you want to support me and you want to play a D&D game in a setting that I've been meticulously working on for some time. that will be that'll probably be coming out eventually. We'll see if I wind up doing that. I may also just wind up waiting until after I run a campaign in this world, so I can include sort of a campaign guide as well to it. But we'll see. We'll see. That might also be like, I don't know, maybe I can publish that as a separate supplement if this thing really catches on. There are some thoughts. Anyway, I figured this fit well with ending up Kingdom Come, and this was a good enough chance for me to share this sort of thing that I've been working on and I've been enjoying doing quite a bit. Also, you can make it snowy. You can make it winter. Wow, that's unfathomably bright. Stuff like that. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with this. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, we're not out of time, but we are out of game. So that's all I've got for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining me. I had a wonderful time with Kingdom Come Deliverance. It was an amazing game. I'm so glad to all of you. I'm so glad to everybody who recommended it to me, and to were supportive and helpful along the way. Fantastic. I'm so glad I got to play it. I'm so glad I got to experience it also for the first time with the audience and with all of you guys. It's been great. Thank you so much for coming along this ride with me. Next up, like I said, I'm open to suggestions still until next week. But unless somebody else convinces me otherwise, my plans so far are next Monday I'll be starting a new vaguely science fiction game, and then next Wednesday I'll be starting a new vaguely fantasy or historical game. I'm leaning towards, like I said, my current plan is Jedi Fallen Order for Monday and Hogwarts Legacy for Wednesday. Both are sort of Souls-light kind of things, and so they're both they're similar enough in gameplay and similar enough in style, but again radically different in terms of their setting, I suppose I should say. So that'll give us a nice. That should give us a nice diversity of things that we're going to be playing. I'm also thinking about looking into streaming on Kick, either in addition to or instead of YouTube. If you have any thoughts on that, if you either would or wouldn't follow me over there, or have any advice on how or what to do, feel free to let me know. I'm thinking about it. It could be a good thing to do. It could be a good thing to try. Anyway, though, that is all that I have for tonight. Thank you all so much for joining me. I did have a wonderful time. I hope you did as well. And as always, remember, don't be safe, be well, and more importantly, be good. Good night.